Hi, welcome to SBRForum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are previewing UFC 160 right now, and we are joined via Skype by returning guest Nick Kalikas, who is a professional MMA oddsmaker. His website is MMAoddsbreaker.com, and our call-in guest is Adam Martin, an MMA handicapper and writer, and also a contributor with MMAoddsbreaker.com. All right, guys, now we're going to discuss KJ Noons and Donald Cerrone. Now, the odds on this one I'm seeing at 5 dimes currently are Cerrone minus 300, Noons at plus 250, and a lot of people are saying that that Noons is completely out of his league here, and I'm thinking that might actually be the case, and that this might be one of those instances where the favorite does actually have some value, and you're not laying that much here, minus 300. I'm questioning whether Cerrone's heart is going to be fully into this, so you know an upset is always possible, but Noons has had some losses recently, and I'm thinking maybe Cerrone minus 300 is the way to go here. What do you think, Adam Martin?
Actually, I'm in the minority here. I actually kind of like KJ Noons in this fight.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's a really close fight. That's the thing. And I think at plus 250, I have to make a bet on him just because I think it's going to be a competitive fight that probably goes to the scorecards. And, you know, when it goes to the scorecards, you never know how the judges are going to score it.
Yeah.
You know, there's no doubt in my mind that Cerrone should be the favorite in this fight. I think minus 300 is a very fair price for him. But I don't know. I just think that the Strikeforce fighters are coming into the UFC extremely hungry right now. You know, KJ Noons knows his back's against the wall. He's lost a couple fights in a row now. He needs to win this fight. The UFC put him in this huge fight on the main card, the opening up the UFC 160 card in Las Vegas. I think KJ's going to rise to the occasion. I think he's going to win a very tight decision, maybe a split decision. But I think it's worth a shot at plus 250. I know I'm in the minority on this one, but
right.
You know, maybe I like KJ more than most people. But you know, I've always been a fan of the guy. You know, he finished Nick Diaz up, you know, many years ago. He destroyed him in that fight. I know that people are saying, you know, the cut stopped the fight, but until the cut stopped, you know, KJ was beating Nick Diaz up really badly, and you know, he's had some other good fights. He has decent takedown defense. He's got great boxing. You know, he's a good fighter. Donald Cerrone, like I said, he should be the favorite. He's a more talented and more complete mixed martial artist, but you know, sometimes that doesn't even matter. So at plus 250, I'm going to take a shot at KJ Noons.
All right, yeah, Nick Kalikas. I mean, we've discussed in previous previews how Strikeforce fighters in general are underrated, although a lot of people are saying that Noons himself is very overrated. What's your take on this fight, Nick?
I don't think he's overrated. I mean, where he is at this point in his career, I mean, he has fought a lot of solid competition, and he's done pretty well. I mean, I don't think he's really had a bad fight, even if people weren't impressed by his last few performances. And you know what? It's all about timing, like I said. And to me, the biggest concern about this fight is, sure, Cerrone should be the favorite. He's a way better fighter overall. I mean, there's no question. His submission game, his wrestling, his striking, he could probably outpoint Noons at his own game on the feet, too. So why not bet Cerrone here? Man, there's too many questions in his personal life. I mean, if you look at what's gone on lately with his extreme sports, you know, he likes to have fun. He likes to enjoy life to the fullest. I know Dana White's complaining about some stuff, and supposedly he's toning things down, but if you look at the mental aspect of the game, I think Cerrone is kind of comfortable and in a happy place mentally right now in his life. He's doing other things. He's not focused on fighting as much.
Right.
At least that's my feel. I believe that KJ Noons is a little bit more focused right now. And again, I mentioned it before, but timing is everything. So he might just be catching Cerrone at the right time. There's no way I can lay the juice on Cerrone until he proves to me that he is focused, that he has an impressive performance again. Then I'll be a believer. But right now, there's just too many question marks floating around out there. There's a lot of rumors, there's a lot of interviews, everything. If you gather some information, to me, it's saying stay away from this fight.
Yeah.
I do believe Cerrone should win, but man, it's hard to lay that juice again.
Yeah, like I said in the intro, my one big question mark with Cerrone is, you know, his heart and his head right now. Adam Martin, is that a big factor for you here?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I actually picked against Donald Cerrone in his last fight. I predicted he'd lose by knockout to Anthony Pettis, and that was the main reason why, because I didn't think his focus was on the fight. I thought it was, you know, with his rock climbing and all the other stuff he does, wakeboarding and all that. You know, he said apparently he's toned it down a little bit, but I just don't know. I mean, that guy, you know, he's a really cool guy, man. You know, he likes to party, he likes to have fun, and you know, that's all nice and dandy. But I mean, when you got a guy like KJ Noons coming in, he's going to be really hungry. You know, I think that's a recipe for disaster.
All right, you've talked me off of Donald Cerrone completely here, Adam Martin. Thanks, I appreciate it. I have a feeling you might have saved me a few bucks there. Nick Kalikas, where'd you open this line?
Well, I opened it a little bit under 3-1, so the public is betting Cerrone up. And again, I mean, he's just so much of a better fighter. He should realistically win this fight. But I cannot recommend a play on him. There's no way you can lay 3-1 on it. I mean, I always say there's better bets out there. We just talked about TJ Grant at a dog price. Maybe parlaying a couple guys together. I don't like doing crazy parlays, but maybe a two-teamer. If you do want to lay some juice on this card that we're talking about, maybe a two-team parlay with a couple of the guys, that's about it. But almost as a kind of a funner bet or something small that you're not risking too much and that you can afford to lose. Because I don't like any of the favorites on this card. Like confidently, and Cerrone's just another one that kind of falls in that category. I think most of these fights are dogs or pass.
So do you expect to need anyone in this fight? Or do you think you're going to get balanced action?
No, actually, I think the public trend is going to continue, and we're probably going to be a little bit heavier in most spots on Cerrone, so we're going to need KJ Nunes. I know, again, it's a risky spot, but when those favorites like that, 3-1, break parlays and everything else, the sportsbooks cash a lot better. So hopefully Nunes does pull off the upset here. I personally won't be throwing my money on this fight at all. I'm going to pass.
All right, well, that just about wraps it up. Thanks so much. Great preview of UFC 160, guys. Thanks. Appreciate it.